Hey guys, today I'm going to show you how to make 4 really quick, easy Christmas cards. All right, so I'm going to take my paper and I've already folded mine in half, but you're going to fold it in half. Okay, and you're going to be able to open it like a card, right? So I'm going to draw my gnome first, okay? And this one's really easy. Kind of looks like a little Santa Claus, if that's what you choose. So we're going to start off with the placement. Now I want to make sure I'm able to write Merry Christmas on mine, so I'm going to leave this top portion empty, and then I'm going to kind of come down here. So I'm going to draw
a little bit below halfway. I'm going to draw just a curved line. Now don't draw dark, okay? Just a curved line. And then this curved line is going to come up. And then this curved line is also going to come up. Okay? And then you're going to go in, and you're going to kind of smooth this around. This is going to be his hat. And then this side is going to be, I'm going to bring this over a little bit further. And then this side, you're going to come up, and it's just going to kind of be like a weird wave. Like it's fabric, and then come down like this. Now at the end, you're going to add like a little puff, so it's going to come down. Okay? And then I'm going to bring this over a little bit further. And then I like to add a few extra little lines. And then down here, I'm going to draw his beard. I'm going to go down. And it's easier for me to go upside down on the other side. So I'm going to draw. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, ooh, that beard got kind of small, but that's all right. And then I'm going to draw his nose. So if your beard is bigger, that's totally okay. But you want a pretty big nose like this. All right, and then next you're going to Sharpie it.
All right, next I'm going to take my watercolor and I'm going to paint his hat. My little guy, I want him to look like Santa, so I'm going to paint his hat red.
Now what's great about these is that they don't have to be painted perfect, okay? So if you get, not all the way to the line or partially outside the line, it's going to look just fine. So here's my little dude. Now I want his nose to be more of a skin tone. A little bit of red, so I'm going to take this red that's on my brush, I'm going to move it over the side of my palette. And then I'm going to get a little bit of yellow and a little bit of orange and a little bit of brown. I know it sounds like a lot of colors, but I'm not using much of any of them. And I'm going to make this kind of skin tone color. And I'm going to paint his little nose. Like I said, I wanted it slightly hinted red. Now, my daughter is a fan of making his beard slightly gray. Okay? I'm not really a fan, but I will show you what that looks like, just because she is. Now, it's really easy to get too much black on your brush. So I'm going to say I highly suggest, bringing a little bit of water over. And you don't want it to be very dark. See how I barely got any? It's super dark. Let's add some more water to it. You want it to be kind of a light gray color. And once you have that, then you can add, a wee bit of gray highlights to his beard if you choose. You can always paint him on like this and then use a paper towel to kind of take some of it off. Just so that way it gives it a little bit of dimension. But that's really it. And then you write your Merry Christmas at the top.
Now, one thing is there's a website called dafont.com. It has some really cool fonts that you can use, and a lot of kids are like, oh, I'm not good at that. Well, if you can look at a tutorial and draw, then you can look at letters and recreate them. All right, so again, I have my large paper. I'm gonna line it up and fold it and make sure it's card style. Okay, now this one's gonna be a little reindeer, and it's just gonna have its antlers and its ears and a nose and some eyes and some lights hanging from its antlers. Okay, so again, I want to leave space to say Merry Christmas, so I'm going to kind of come down
here. Now, we're not going to Sharpie the horns until after we paint them, so we're just going to draw kind of like pencil horns, okay? So we're just going to really lightly, and I'm drawing a little darker than I should, but really lightly you're going to draw, some horns. And I'm going to have mine curve. They need to be the same height, roughly, like this. And then it's going to have a horn on the inside, and it's going to have a horn on the outside. So, okay? And you'll do the same repeat on the inside of this side, and then the outside also, okay? Now, I'm not sharpening these yet, okay? So then I'm going to draw some ears. My ears are going to go here, this, and here's my other ear. And they do have insides, too. And then mine's a girl, so I'm just going to have her have little closed, and I'm going to add some eyelashes. I know I'm going to do that, and then she's going to have a pretty substantial nose, and then I'm going to have little lights hanging. Like so, okay? And then I'm going to go ahead and grab my Sharpie and Sharpie everything but the horns.
All right, and now we paint, and this one's really quick, so I'm gonna go ahead and get my brush and get my brown, Now when you're painting these antlers, you're gonna start kind of pushing your brush down and then you're gonna lift it up, and your paintbrush should be pointed, and then at the very end it should go to a point. So I'm gonna start over here, I'm gonna kind of push down, and then as I go out, I'm gonna just kind of lift it up like that. So push down, go and lift up, and then push down and go and lift up, like so. I'm gonna do the same on the other side. So push down and then lift up. Okay. And that side got darker than my other one. Okay. So there is my antlers. Now I don't want my antlers to blend in with my ears, so I'm going to take a little bit of my brown in my palette. I'm going to mix it with a little bit of yellow, just so that way it's a little bit lighter of a brown. Okay, and I'm going to paint my ears and this ear. So, and then I'm going to paint its nose. I'm going to paint its nose red. Now I have all these little lights, so I'm going to paint some of them red. And I'm going to paint a couple of them yellow and a couple green, I think. That's the colors I'm going to choose. Like so. And then I want to actually add a little bit of pink on the inside of my deer's ears. So I'm going to take some of my red and add a pretty substantial amount of water to it. And then just kind of go right on top. I had way too much on my brush. It happens. Okay. And then that's it for this one. Super, super easy. It looks really cute. I probably could have drawn it bigger, but that's it. All right, let's do our next one. All right, for our next one we're gonna draw is a Christmas tree. And I need to make sure I need enough space at the top for it to say Merry Christmas.
So I'm gonna start off with my star, and my star is gonna go right here. Now I'm not good at drawing stars freehand, so I'm gonna do the classic star like this, and then just erase my inside, so make sure you draw really light if this is the case. If you're good at it the other way, kudos to you. All right. And I can always refine it when I go back in with the Sharpie. Then I'm going to draw my tree, and it's going to come down from my star, and it's going to get bigger as it kind of goes out. Okay, I'm going to do that to both sides. They don't have to perfectly match up by any means. And then this bottom part, I kind of want like a sketchy tree. Then it's going to have a little bitty tree trunk, and this one's going to sit in kind of like a pot. So I'm going to draw my little pot like this. And then curve this around just as we need to. All right. And then it needs to have some ornaments. Like so. Maybe a little one over here. Okay, then we Sharpie.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and start off with my yellow. So I'm gonna get my paint on my brush. And I'm gonna go ahead and paint this. Now, remember, these are small spaces, so you can't get too much paint like I just did. And if you do, just wipe it off and then keep moving around the paint you already have. All right. And again, it doesn't have to be painted perfect. That's the nice part, okay? Then I'm gonna go ahead and rinse my brush, and I'm gonna go ahead and grab some green. And I'm gonna paint my tree. And a little bit of paint is going to go a long way, okay? Paint this now. If you're, using color pencils, you're just going to color this in. All right. And I kind of want it to look sketchy like this, so that's fine. I'm going to rinse my brush. I'm going to grab me my brown. Again, you don't need much at all. If you're not good at painting little sections like that, then just, you know, use a color pencil or a marker to do that. That's also possible. All right. You can always mix your medias together. You know, you can use partial paint and partial color pencil, or partial color pencil and partial watercolor. Any of those things are fine. All right, and then I'm gonna do my pot thing at the bottom, and I put stripes on it earlier, and it's gonna be blue. And then lastly, your ornaments, but you need to make sure that your green isn't wet before you do your ornaments, which mine is, so I'm gonna wait a minute. All right, so mine is dry enough. Now, if you're not brave enough, you know, to go in here with watercolor and paint, you can just color them in with markers or color pencils like we discussed earlier. Okay, so I'm gonna get my paint. I'm gonna make sure that there's not a lot on there. And then I'm gonna paint in my little ornaments. All right, so our last one is gonna be a wreath. So I went ahead and folded my paper in half, and then I found this little random circle, and it's just big enough. So I'm gonna put it here, kind of in the center, and trace around on the, I'm actually gonna trace on the inside. Not super dark. Okay, and then I'm also going to add a bow to it, and I've shown how to draw bows earlier, but let's go ahead and do it again. So you're going to draw a circle. That's the center of my bow. I'm going to come up. It's like a big triangle with curved sides like this. And then this comes, loops around like so. With that curved line in there, like that. And then you'll do it the same to the other side. It's a big triangle. Like so. All right, so here's my bow. It's a little bit bigger than the other side, but that's okay. All right, now that will be the only thing that I actually Sharpie, will be the bow. Okay, now I'm gonna use the Q-tips for this one. That's what we talked about earlier. So let me show you. I don't want to dip my Q-tip into my actual paint, so I'm gonna bring paint over here and thin it down. So I have this red already, and I'm gonna make sure it's nice and thin. And if it's, you know, nice and colorful too, so that's plenty of red, okay? And then I want to have my green, so I'm gonna take my green, bring it over here. Now I want to have 2 shades of green, so I'm actually gonna bring green over on this side too. And I'm going to rinse my brush and grab some yellow. This is kind of like a yellow-green color. And then I am going to throw a little bit of purple in with this wreath. So I'm going to take some purple. It's a nice extra color. All right. So this is the paint I'm actually going to use for this project, okay? Purple doesn't want to stay in the middle. All right. So I'm going to take my Q-tip, and I'm going to twist to make sure that it's nice and all of my cotton's twisted together. Now if you start twisting it and it starts fraying out, you twisted the wrong way, so you just twist the opposite way. All right, and then I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna dab all my colors on. All right, I'm gonna work around my circle. So I'm gonna take this green and I'm just gonna once that's on, I'm going to let it dry, and then I'm gonna actually erase this circle before I continue, and then I'll show you the rest of it. All right, I went ahead and erased my circle. Mind you, this doesn't take very long to dry, in just a couple minutes. And then I went ahead and made my colors a little bit stronger. Now to do that, you're just using more color out of your palette and less water. Now don't go crazy, because you don't want to use all your paint, okay? So I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna grab my green again, and I'm just gonna add, you know, another layer, and you can do it on top of some of the other ones and add some new ones, just that way it creates some kind of depth for you, okay? Like so. All right, and then when you're all done, you should have 4 really cool Christmas cards.